friendship that'll never ever end.
Since Alexa Bliss has joined the Firefly Funhouse, we've kind of wondered what her future in WWE will be. We've kind of assumed that she's going to sort of take the role that Bray Wyatt plays in the Firefly Funhouse. Of course, Bray's story is that he will go after people who have wronged him in the past to correct those wrongs and make things right, and he uses the Fiend to do just that. So we can kind of assume that maybe Alexa Bliss could be doing the same thing, and that she may target people from her past to correct wrongs from her past to make them correct today. And in celebration of WWE Shop finally releasing replica Play and Pain Alexa Bliss gloves, we had to make the video Future Opponents for Alexa Bliss. But before we get started, just a quick reminder, hit the like button, and if you are new to the channel, give us a subscribe. It's free. Okay, let's start off with an obvious one. How about Nikki Cross? Now, of course, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have a lot of history together in WWE. And yes, they have faced each other since Alexa's joined the Funhouse. But a lot of people, me included, would say this feud was very, very short. And I think it was short because of the whole new thing currently going on Raw with Randy Orton, and the fact Alexa Bliss is needed in that role to prolong the story, to keep telling the story in the absence of Bray Wyatt. But it definitely doesn't mean that once that story's come to a head and Alexa's no longer needed for that she could revisit this feud with Nikki Cross. It would be the perfect opportunity to reveal that darker character that Alexa Bliss could become. We don't know whether she will or she won't become a Fiend-like character, but it would be an interesting concept. It's the first time we really saw the dark side of Alexa Bliss was in those segments with Nikki Cross. And more recently on Main Event, Nikki Cross has been acting a little bit stranger, a little bit more crazy, a little bit more like energetic and stuff like she used to be. It's not anywhere near the same level, but it's maybe starting to get there, and a new feud between Alexa and Nikki could revitalize both of those characters, and it would just be a really cool few weeks if they did something between the two again. How about Charlotte Flair? Now, if you don't know, Charlotte and Alexa have battled in WWE for years. NXT, the main roster, the heights and lows of their careers, they've literally battled each other. It would make so much sense to do it again. Of course, what a way to book it than the Queen versus the Goddess. And the Goddess this time could be a female Fiend-like character, and it adds a whole new dimension to the feud. You're not just saying their random names. Alexa could be damn serious. She could be the Fiendess, and you could have the Queen trying to overthrow the Fiendess, and it ain't gonna happen. It would just be really cool, a really cool sort of segue to get Alexa built up to that OMG Fiend level. We've already seen the kind of an undertone of a Charlotte Flair heel turn incoming again, and I think that's fine. I think Charlotte does work best as a heel, and you gotta believe a Fiendess Alexa Bliss 100% would not be being booed by us, the WWE fans. So I think heel Charlotte versus face Fiendess Alexa, that would be really, really exciting. Out there possibility, how about Mickie James? Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, again, were once best friends on the WWE roster. Kind of mirrored a little bit by Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. But we know the friendship didn't last too long, and we know they ended up in a bit of rivalry. It makes sense, therefore, to revisit that. And with rumours recently being that Mickie James is not done in WWE, that she has been out with an injury, and now she seems to be ready to return whenever WWE want or need her to, it would make sense to do this feud. I think Mickie James is reaching that point in her career where, a bit like Natalya, she's going to be the veteran in the roster, and she's going to put over other people. She's going to have these big matches, but the big matches she'll probably lose. Perfect for Alexa Bliss. Perfect to get that Fiendess character over. An out there possibility, but how about Rowdy Ronda Rousey? We know Alexa Bliss and Ronda have faced each other in the past, but did you know Alexa Bliss actually sustained 2 concussions while working with Ronda Rousey, including one at the 2018 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that caused her to miss the Women's Evolution event, and she didn't have a match for WrestleMania 35 as a result. Now, we know Ronda Rousey is currently still working with WWE. She's a part of the new Superstar Gaming series they're presenting. Why could she not return for a one-time feud with Alexa? It would make a lot of sense. I'm sure if you booked in an event like WrestleMania, you could probably tempt Ronda Rousey back for an event or two. Maybe SummerSlam could make a lot of sense. And you gotta believe, Alexa would hold that grudge if she's there to right the wrongs from her past. That would be a huge one. The fact she wasn't able to compete at the Women's Evolution pay-per-view. A pay-per-view that Alexa Bliss, without a doubt, has literally made possible by being a great women's superstar for WWE. Of course she's going to hold a grudge for that. Again, an out there possibility because Sasha's currently on SmackDown, but the blueprint, the boss, Sasha Banks. Now again, another bitter rivalry we've seen in the past, Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. The two even had the very first women's match in Abu Dhabi. It would make a lot of sense for the two to feud again. They have, obviously, as we mentioned, feuded many times, but most of the write-ups on their previous feuds haven't been positive. They were great, but most of them say it was cut short. And if that's what people think, who's to say Alexa doesn't think the same? And maybe to right that wrong, she has to extend that feud. Maybe. And a cool way to get to the feud with Sasha Banks is to have Alexa Bliss take on the Raw Women's Champion Asuka and become champion. We know there's history between Alexa and Asuka. It's definitely possible to do the feud, but I think more will be at play, like Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt won the Universal Championship, it was basically a toy, a prop, and he used it to lure Daniel Bryan. He knew Daniel Bryan always wanted to chase championships. He wanted to be champion. So if he was champion, Daniel Bryan had to come for him. It was a reason for the feud to exist in the first place. And you gotta believe that a Fiendess Alexa Bliss would feel exactly the same way. The championship belts are irrelevant to the character. They just want them as props to get what they want. Really, really cool. Now, we don't know how long Alexa Bliss is going to remain part of the Firefly Funhouse. We know there has been hints of friendship and friends always leaving you. We've seen Friendship Frog die. So we know friendships aren't forever. And we know that sometime, I'm assuming in the future, Alexa Bliss will probably leave Bray Wyatt, whether she turns on him or whether she is kicked out, whether her use in the Funhouse has come to an end and Bray makes sure that friend goes away. That, I think, is a near certainty. When it happens, I don't know. I really hope it's not anytime soon. I do want to see the evolution of Alexa Bliss. I want to see her become a Fiend-like character, yes, with a badly edited picture. But there isn't one that exists because it hasn't happened yet. And I really want it to happen because you've got a cash cow in the Fiend where you've made so much merchandise. Imagine what you could do with a Fiendess Alexa Bliss. It would be cool and add a whole new dynamic to the women's roster in WWE. It could be that after the feud with Randy Orton, that could be the time Alexa Bliss leaves Bray Wyatt. It might be that her use is only extended for this feud. I would hate it to be the case, but it's possible. I'm in no doubt, though, that both Bray and Alexa will be fine whenever that split happens. You've got then the thing where Alexa can say maybe what's going on in the Funhouse. You've got that whole storyline that will progress from it, and it would be super cool. But I do think revisiting some of Alexa Bliss's past and those opponents would be interesting. Now, I know I'm 100% sure there will be more than the ones we mentioned on this video. Definitely. Yes, people like Bayley. Yes, people like Nia Jax maybe. It's distinctly possible. But I wanted to focus on what I think could be the biggest feud for Alexa without just literally naming everyone on a WWE's roster. But let me know your thoughts on who you want Alexa Bliss to possibly face in the future, if she does become a Fiend-esque character or not, in the comments section down below. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and of course consider turning on those post notifications. You'll never miss a future video, and I'll see you as always next time. Peace!